see the things that you can like on the right-hand side?
Yeah.
Are you ever surprised by how accurate they are on things that you actually like?
Yeah.
I know that I am. Every time I see the likes that they suggest for me, I'm always interested in them. What?
Tracking bookies.
Yeah, exactly. You know, they know what my interests are. They know where I live. They know where I went to school. They know what my friends are interested in. It's kind of crazy how targeted you can be with Facebook ads. You know, you can really identify a narrow demographic area and really get down to interests. Again, with the Creek and the Cave, a bar and restaurant, it's in Long Island City. It's a specific area of Queens. We're targeting a specific age range and people that are into comedy. And Facebook can find all of those people. Again, it's finding the exact people that you want to reach instead of just trying the buckshot approach of like trying to reach everyone and seeing what sticks.
What's the cost? Yeah, because yeah.
So it's similar to like a PPC, pay-per-click option. Usually with any kind of search engine marketing, you can pay based on impressions and you can pay based on clicks. I would always recommend paying by clicks if you do any kind of SEM. Impressions is something that someone like me would say to the client, like, oh, look how many impressions you got, but I don't think it's really effective. An impression is how many times someone saw that ad, but maybe didn't click on it. So you could have 10,000 impressions and say, wow, great, you know, we got the brand in front of these 10,000 people with these 10,000 impressions. But again, if no one clicked on it, you're reaching the wrong people or wasn't interesting enough, so for some reason they didn't click on it, and you're still paying for that impression. So you pay like per thousand when you go down the impressions route, and then you can also do per click, which is like a little bit higher per click, but I think it's a little bit more valuable.
Not to keep you here all day, just we'll kind of close it up in a little bit, but I think after hearing your talk, and maybe I'm not speaking for my class here, but you're entrepreneurial. That you know, how did you start? You came out of college. You lived down the West Coast. How did you get into creating your own company? Like, how did you wake up one day, you're in your 20s, and you say, I don't want to work for the man? Can you explain some of that? Because
Sure.
I think what a lot happens with MBA students, and I speak for my own self because I have an MBA, is that we kind of lose focus on that entrepreneurial drive, and we get bogged down on classical stuff and this and that. So I'm always loving it, and I would like you to add, if you don't mind, a little bit of your entrepreneurial spirit and kind of the path how you went from a lawyer in a nice firm to doing what you do. So.
Sure. I guess a little bit more about my background is I'm from California. I grew up in the Bay Area, and I went to San Diego State University, and I graduated in public relations. And the first company I worked for was a wine brand called Great White Wines, now Shark Trust Wines, and it was a wine company that helped raise money for great white shark research and conservation. And I did all the PR for them. And then I moved on to working for a company called Muttropolis, a dog and cat boutique, doing all the PR and marketing for them. That's how I really got into the pet industry. While I was working at Muttropolis, I started my own company. I started consulting while I was working full-time for a company called eNASCO. They're a huge company based in Wisconsin, and they sell over 100,000 different products. And I got into doing that through a friend. They were looking for someone to do some PR consulting for just a couple hours a month. And that definitely worked into my schedule while I was working full-time. So I started doing that. I decided to, register with the Treasury Department in San Diego, and, started my business. And I did that about 4 years ago. And then I moved to New York, actually for a different job. As I moved from I applied for the job, had a phone interview, flew here for an in-person interview, moved here within 2 weeks, from San Diego to New York. I worked for a company as the PR manager for about 2 months, and then I was laid off. And I was laid off on a Thursday, and on Friday morning, the company I was consulting for called me and said, we're ramping up for the holidays. We really need you for more hours. And that's when I went full-time with my business, and it's been about 2 years now. I started with that first client, and had probably at least 25 clients in the past 2 years. And a lot of that can be attributed to networking. I wanted to touch on that briefly with you. Networking and making connections is so huge, no matter what you're trying to do. Really practicing your 30-second pitch about who you are, what you do, is really important. The more networking events you can go to, the better. The more people you can meet, the more opportunities that present themselves.
That's how, you can even tell how we met.
Yeah, exactly. I'm in a networking group called STG, Smart Transition Group, and there's a member in the group named Joe Walsh, who connected me with Chad. So that's how, I'm here today. I would say almost everything I do is through networking. And that doesn't, I think sometimes networking has a negative connotation, and you have some idea about what networking is. Networking it can simply be meeting someone and talking to them and giving them your business card and taking their information, and connecting on some level. There are networking type events every hour of every day in this city, and you should go to as many as you can. There are a lot of different groups. One of the big ones is BNI, Business Networking International. They meet at 7 in the morning, so I'm not really a fan of that group. But you can always be a guest. And there's, depending on what industry you're into, there are professional associations for every single industry, and you can see what their calendar of upcoming events are and go to one of them. And just be there, just see what people are talking about, see what kind of personalities are there, who, it could just be someone that you are interested in talking to. You never know how that can unfold down the line.
You want to tell your story?
Sure. My story is really different because I totally switched focus. I'm born and raised in Staten Island, and I went to, after college, I went to Seton Hall Law School, and then I clerked for a year, and then I practiced divorce law in Manhattan for 3 years. And I guess it's not a great story. One day I was at a party with my friend, and we've always loved animals, and she said to me, "Do you want to open up a pet care business?" And I said, "Okay." And once I get the idea, I run with it. So I started doing research about other pet care businesses. And I found a franchise called Fetch Pet Care. And what we did is actually doing some research on that, talking to corporate a lot, talking to other franchise owners. We bought the franchise, the territory in Staten Island. And I think that's the website you gave to everybody, but that's okay. What happened was, so it's a little different because when you're buying a franchise, you basically buy their business model. And I really like their business model because it's an in-home pet sitting business. So you don't have to do that much work on your own because they lay it out for you and they help you along the way. But then some legal issues happened, and we wanted to get out of the franchise using my legal background. We found a loophole, and we defranchised. I got the non-compete void, and then I opened up my own pet care business. So we do the same thing, I have the same customers, but now I could actually grow and grow to Hoboken
So you're gonna have your own franchises now?
No, it's gonna be me. I'm not gonna franchise it out. I haven't really. When you franchise things out, you lose a lot of control. I'm really not looking for that yet, maybe in the future, but right now it's gonna be me. I have a business partner, and we take care of all of Staten Island. I live in Hoboken now, so we're gonna service Hoboken and Jersey City, and maybe even grow bigger, get some managers. I mean, you always have to look into the future and look towards expanding and look how many more clients you can get and growing, and that's what we're doing now.
And I'll open up the floor if you have any questions for anybody, for you ladies, even Alex in the back. I mean, if you have any questions, fire away, and then I'm just gonna have some closing remarks and we can wrap it up.
Sure. She answered 3 of my questions.
Do you want to introduce yourself? And yeah, take a second, introduce yourself and tell a little bit about, yeah.
My question? Or?
No, who you are. Put a name in the question.
My name is Chris Allegre. I actually have prior experience in the military. I spent almost 14 years in the military, so now I'm trying to pursue, a different avenue. I did have the question. I know it was emailed to you. Like, what do you recommend the MBA program? Like maybe something that you see a lot of MBA students graduating that they're not getting the knowledge that you recommend. Like something that you experience and you think all MBA students should know.
I think that there are different paths for different people. The MBA might be a great choice for you and what you're trying to do. There's a lot of successful business owners that never went to college, didn't even graduate high school. I think education is always a good idea, and it always helps you, have that extra leg up when you maybe are looking for a job and you're against someone else, or maybe some things that you can learn to apply to your own business if you want to be an entrepreneur. That's kind of my philosophy on it. Whatever you put your mind to do, I think you can accomplish. And whatever steps you need to take to get there. And if MBA is part of that, you're in the right place.
You mentioned a bunch of websites I've never even heard of. Are there any more that you haven't mentioned that can help us?
For what specifically?
Networking and just if we do start a business, maybe tracking. And a lot of things you already mentioned. Maybe there's a few other ones that you recommend.
For what are you interested in?
I am interested in websites like LinkedIn and
I guess what industry?
social networks what was the other one? Groupon and Meetup. Websites like that sound interesting to me. You can link up, maybe network and go
Look, as far as looking for networking events, if you live in Staten Island or you live in Brooklyn, depending on where you live, you can find meetup or networking groups on Meetup as well. You could type in networking with your zip code and find something nearby to you.
What's been a big help is depending on where you want to open up your business, going to their Chamber of Commerce.
Yeah.
Becoming a part of it. I'm in the Business Guild in the Chamber. They have monthly networking groups. They do a lot of networking.
Yeah, that's been.
Even if you're trying to, I think I mentioned a couple of you guys are trying to look for jobs, just sit there and say, I'm looking for a job, go to the chamber, go to these business meetings. I can guarantee you the small businesses under $10 million need guys like you. I can guarantee you. I look at my own personal family's corporation, and if you walked in there and you just made an argument, even if they're not hiring, you would get hired. They need guys like you. Trust me.
Yeah, absolutely. There's also a pet chamber of commerce you should look into.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, the Chamber of Commerce's meetings are great. I try to go to all the ones in my area. And there's nobody, at all these networking events I go to, it's a small world. You see a lot of the same faces. There's never anyone looking for a job. And if there was,